Yeah, that would kill me, bro. I'd never want to see that.
Sweet. Welcome back to another episode of Sludge Underground. Mike, introduce yourself and what it is you do.
What's up? I'm Myke from Your Cynical Sanity. I'm the Screamy Boy vocalist.
The Screamy Boy, but I like that definition.
Yeah, singer does like kind of doesn't like sit right, you know.
Yeah. I think that's why like we generally, I think like a lot of guys go with like the term metal vocalist, but Screamy Boy sounds so much more characterized.
Yeah, I agree.
Now coming back from the finals, like starting off with the Wacken finals, how are you feeling about that and how it went down?
Dude, the whole event was so sick. I mean, to be a part of this now, this is the second time around. I feel like the first time we were a little bit nervous. Obviously, a little bit newer as well, or unknown, should I say, up in Joburg. And to go there and to meet everybody. I don't know, man. This one around, this time around, it felt less of like a competition vibe and more of a social event. Like it was so cool speaking to all these bands, especially from outside of South Africa, and speaking to bands we don't see too often in Joburg. It was a really cool experience. Yeah, such a joy. We all still on a high from the gig. I feel like that was definitely top three for us.
Yeah, it was definitely like a much bigger sense of like camaraderie amongst the bands. I didn't pick up like any sort of fucky vibes, if that's no one seemed to be kind of
Yeah,
isolating themselves from everyone else or fuck you, this is a competition type of deal.
totally. Yeah, I agree with that, man.
It is a completely different vibe from how we experience shows down here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm often on the socials and I'm looking and very envious or jealous of the fact that most of these bands are playing even 2 to 3 shows a month at different venues. Like it's very difficult for us to sort of organize something so close together like that. But also to have it well attended. It seems like the scene up there, is the prime scene to be in. Like we love playing up there. Not that there's anything wrong with Durban scenes or anything, and it's always fun to have shows here. But yeah, to be as up there as Joburg is when it comes to having organized shows so often and well attended and good camaraderie at all of these things, yeah, it would be a big step for us in Durban.
Absolutely. And I think the last time, man, that we had Your Cynical Sanity on the show was probably about what, like 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, that sounds right. I
Or
think
was it
it
a while
was
back?
like 2018, roughly. I think 2017, 2018, somewhere there. Yeah,
When we were still doing episodes like in person, and I think we did this one in like the back sort of courtyard of the Winston, if I remember right.
that's right. Yeah, we were at the Winston midday with the rats running around. Good times.
Dude, I remember that shit actually. That thing was huge.
Yeah, it was classic, man. So it made me feel very comfortable to be at the Winston.
Absolutely. And like a lot has changed. A lot has changed like with YCS in that time frame. Can you walk me a bit like walk me through a bit of what has changed in that time frame? Like I know there's a couple of new members, there's a couple of new faces. Has that shifted the direction of the band at all? Walk me through that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, without a doubt, it's shifting the direction. I feel like this band, since we started, have shifted direction. This is going to be like the fourth or fifth time that we're shifting directions now. Not so much direction, just I would say more influences getting involved. With new people comes like new ideas and new inspiration and stuff. So that last time we were chatting, we were in sort of a gray area where members were about to leave for work and all sorts of things, and just life was changing and this and that. Um, and we were getting close to finishing off like an album that we had worked on for quite some time. I think maybe 4 years we were working on putting something together. And by the end of that period, we kind of like lost the emphasis on what we were doing. I feel like this was also just right before COVID hit as well. So that unreleased album never really went far. We still play a couple of the songs, like Death Wish, we released pretty recently, was from that album that we're putting onto our new album now. Then when COVID hit, we made some changes. There was a lot of reduction. There were just the four of us, and that was sort of a big direction change as far as we really wanted to be a heavier band and be more deathcore than we kind of were before. we were very much playing with groove a lot beforehand, trying to mix groove with deathcore, and felt like we would prefer to go in a heavier direction, like I'm saying, and do something a little bit more to like what we listen to versus creating something that's all over the place and trying to find our feet, you know. So 2020 with Dole McDonald being in charge of writing and stuff, he's kind of put us in the direction of heavier riffs and more slammy, more deathcore outcomes of our songs. And then, you know, he recently left also due to work. And he's obviously doing a lot better now with his job and things. So we've had two new members. Also, I mean, bro, there's been 13 members in this band, if you can believe that. But yeah, it's a 12-year run with 13 people in it, so it's hard to remember who comes and goes all the time. But yeah, a lot of in betweens, a lot of short sessions as well. I know, you know, Carl was with us for I think about a year or so. Also putting in his input into what we do. Seth from The Kill was also with us for a little while. We've also found a lot of the time these guys join and then we've got about 2 weeks and we've got to slam a show in 2 weeks. So, you know, we give it all to them and say, like, get it done and let's just get ready. So it's never been focusing on what we want to do with direction and how we want, you know, the future album or future songs to sound. It's always been a matter of like, just get up to speed for now, bro, and then we can kind of discuss this down the line. So, yeah, it's been a real rat race with the whole writing process. But I think now, this year specifically, the members seem pretty solid. We've got like a solid plan in mind. We are hoping to finish off what we currently have for our album Anhedonic. We've got about 4 or 5 more songs left to do, to record and release. And then from that point on, we'll be going in somewhat of a new direction again. Still heavy, but like I say, more influences of this and that, and hopefully find something that's more permanent, more signature to what YCS will be going forward. You know,
Yeah,
so.
and like, so you have been like the one consistent face, like through the entirety of your Cynical Sanity. So I'm assuming it's a lot of like your influence, and a lot of it is built around you and your persona. This is just from obviously you said like it's been a 12-year run with 13 people that have sort of come and gone, but you have been like the one consistent. Uh, is YCS very much like your baby, your passion project?
Well, a lot of the guys like to remind me or bring up the fact that I'm the only one that's left. I'm probably the common denominator as to why people are leaving the band. But no, I wouldn't say that entirely, man. Like I've really wanted to be passionate about it and stay involved and not give up on the idea. But very much with the sound and how everything goes has always sort of been left up to the guys doing the instruments. So uh, Matt Mader and Luke Harhoff were the ones that started everything, and it was their influence of how they wanted everything to sound, and I kind of fit in there just as the vocalist. Similar with when Shane was in charge of the writing, it was his writing, and I would adjust myself to fit what he wants to do. And then the same with Dill. I think with Dill, it was more a matter of it was me and him doing things together. Like I would have a lot of input of just saying like maybe we should do this or that. But at the end of the day, it was always left up to the instruments that would, you know, sort of dictate how the songs are going to sound, and I would just adjust to what I feel like my influence as a vocalist would be, to fit into that. So um, it's my baby now, I guess, because I'm the only original member left. But I still don't look at it that way. I still leave it up to everyone that's involved. Like we are a group and a family that do this together, and it's not going to work with just me doing everything or just one of us doing everything, you know. So
No, absolutely. I definitely get that. And like I would argue that you are probably one of the most versatile metal vocalists in South Africa, let alone Durban. I mean, I don't think Durban has anyone else that fucking comes close to what you are capable of and just the general versatility of it. And seeing you with the other finalists like Dwayne, I can't remember the vocalist's name from Doom Trigger, and then also Gareth
Jason,
from Human. It was Jason. And
yes, yeah,
dude, just sometimes I can just imagine a collab track with like all four of you, and that would be brutal as
fuck,
fuck.
it'd be
But
amazing, bro. I'd love to do that.
honestly, like in my personal opinion, I'm gonna fangirl here a little bit. You are probably like my favorite vocalist. It currently just the absolute versatility. You absolutely fucking punt it. It's one of my favorite things to watch.
I appreciate that, man. It's been a lot of hard work and a lot of thought into everything. There's been times where I've wanted to rein it down a little bit. You know, certain songs and certain music, it seems like people stick to one range. Either it'll be a solid mid range for most of a song, or a solid lows. These days, it seems like everyone's sort of obsessing with the low end vocals and gutturals and stuff. You know, but I think since day one, I was always obsessed with like Bring Me the Horizons, Count Your Blessings album. You know, Suicide Silence and all that. And the high range stuff for me was always like my favorite thing to do and pull off. And I felt like I could achieve that really well. So I never wanted to give it up, as much as sometimes it may seem like very extreme to involve all three ranges all the time instead of sticking to, you know, certain ones, so that it's, I don't know if you want to say consistent or just more to what people like. But yeah, for me, bro, I've never really wanted to conform to that. I've had thoughts of doing it, but never really wanted to truly just change to do like one thing. I've always wanted to do like all the range, do everything that I can, you know. So I appreciate all the props, and yeah, I hope I can stay a favorite vocalist to some people.
Like for me personally, I very much prefer the versatility. I like, there needs to be kind of ups and downs. It's the same in even as an instrumentalist. I'm sure you know that if you stick to one thing consistently, it gets boring. Like there's only so much like then maybe this is just me being ADHD, but I do need some kind of like variation, especially in vocals. You listen to yeah, I do. Like now that I'm like, on the spot here thinking about it, there's a breakdown by a band called Hollow Prophet, and for the life of me, I can't remember what the song's called, but just the up and downs, and that's just oh. Fucking tasty. How long have you been doing vocals? Like, walk me through just getting to this point. Is it like over time? What even made you decide that you wanted to try this?
So 2009, if you can believe that. How long is that? 13 years ago. So yeah, a year before I was brought into the band. Uh, um, that was like during my matric finals and stuff. Those days off where you wouldn't need to go into school to go write or anything like that, or you come home early and have most of the day off to do nothing. I was sort of like in the bathroom with like a hi-fi, like screaming to songs that I knew and loved, you know, and trying to practice and keep up with the range, and literally pissing off everybody that lived with me at my house at that point, you know. So um, it was then that I sort of dabbled in it and thought like I can do this, or it really intrigued me about technique and how you do this properly without hurting yourself. You know, there was a lot of stuff going around too at the time, like the Zen of Screaming DVD was going around a lot. I managed to get that, and yeah, it was just really intriguing to see all the information and how these people do it, and how they look so cool doing all this shit. You know, so um, I was, yeah, like I say, just dabbling in it at that point, but I was mainly just playing guitar around that time. Similar reasons, you know, like I'm just super into it, and all the bands that I'd listen to would be super into trying to learn how to play guitar. And then I was doing this very secretly as well. No one knew that I was a vocalist. I never mentioned it to anybody. And maybe not long, I'd say like 6 or 8 months later, I met Matt Mader, Luke Harhoff, and our other friend, Greg Bales, and they started coming over and we would drink together and stuff and having these conversations about bands. They were like, you know, a huge influence into new bands that I started listening to, because those guys are all over it, man. They're listening to new shit all the time. They know everything. Granted, they were a lot younger than me too at the time. I think I was probably 20 and they were probably like, you know how it is, like 15, 16, 17. They were the pretty young guys in the band at the time. During a conversation that they were talking about starting up a band, and they said they sort of need like a vocalist, and I'd mentioned, you know, just casually that I practice and I do it, and they sort of pushed me to do it on the spot for them there in my room, and I did it, and they were like, dude, you gotta join the band, we gotta like do this, you know, we can really make something. So like, yeah, let's get involved. So from sort of that point forward up until our first show at Live, I was practicing and yeah, kind of became a vocalist and received good feedback from our first show. I was shit scared. I don't know if you've ever seen or if you were there, but I used to have video footage of that first gig. My feet are like glued to the floor. I'm just staring at the floor the entire show, completely shit scared. But yeah, I still got off the stage and people were like, damn, man, that was really good. I didn't expect that from you. That's probably like the most famous line that I get every show that I play. They're like, I didn't expect that from you, bro. I know I come off like this very like chilled and quiet person, and then I get up there and scream like a maniac, and they're like, "What the fuck, bro?"
My favorite like memory is the box. Especially like at the Winston, you used to have this like box with the Your Cynical Sanity like
I've
painted
still
onto
got
it,
it.
and like I remember seeing you climb up into that thing and just tearing into it. Like I think you guys were one of the first bands I watched when I moved to Durban, and that was like around about 2016. You guys were one of the first bands that metal like Durban metal bands that I got to see, and I'm pretty sure it was still Ro on drums. It was Shane on guitar, Dill on guitar. I don't remember who was playing bass though. For the life of
Our
me,
bassist Gerard G, we used to call him. Yeah, he's moved to Holland at the moment, but yeah, good
yes,
mate.
yes.
He's also a solid member.
But I also remember seeing you get up there, and I'm like, this is gonna be interesting, and then you fucking rip it, and I was like, shit, okay, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, dude, I miss the box, man. I've still got it here. It's sitting in my garage at the moment. I need to like blow the dust off and bring that thing around. Just a pain in the ass to lug to shows, bro. That's like as heavy
Yeah,
as a
yeah, I
fucking
can
guitar
imagine.
amp, you know?
And like, you know what? I would have never have guessed it was that heavy. Like now that I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it, it probably has to be like pretty solid because
Yeah,
you
man.
don't want that shit collapsing
There's
on stage.
exactly. It's already a little bit like wobbly at the moment. That's kind of why I've been reluctant to bring it because there's been a few moments where I've been standing on it and I felt it sort of like tip over a little bit like shit. That's the last thing you want is to like fall on your ass
Mm.
for one of these shows, you know? So,
You don't want to become
but
like
yeah, it's
a
a
part of a musician fails clip, you know. You don't want to be in one of those
exactly,
like montages.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that would kill me, bro. I'd never want to see that. But yeah, it was a heavy thing. It's like a aluminium plus like thick ass wood. I can't remember if it's plywood or not. I don't think so. It feels like it's thick ass wood. So yeah, it's a heavy bitch to carry around with me. But I need to bring it back. I think it's time. It's been a long time.
like those theatrics in shows are really important. I do think it makes bands super like memorable. Like, you know, there's so many shows you could think of where people were sort of theatric. I might not have liked their music, but like the theatrics of it stuck with me. And that's really important these days, especially like trying to retain people's attention. Like I'm not sure if you agree in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It is that those small things really count towards a show. Like you can be a really good band, but if you know the small things aren't considered and you just anything, man. If you don't look the part, if you don't do what you need to, if you don't perform, it's not going to be as memorable as you'd like it to be, you know, where it lives up to how good the music can be. So, yeah, I totally agree with that. One of the big reasons I have the box is because Dill is so fucking tall. And for me to be equal height to him or a little bit taller, that's why I had the box. You know, I got to look dominant otherwise, you know.
But Dill's fucking gigantic, dude. Like I'm a tall dude, and Dill makes me feel normal. It's it's hilarious though. Like there's always that one tall ass motherfucker in a metal band. Like there's always that one guy that's an outlier.
Yeah, in 2020 when it was the four of us, so it was me, our current guitarist Blake, Dylan, and Ro, our drummer. Me and Ro. I don't know if you can see one of the band photos there. You can see in that photo. If not for perspective, like we look like complete dwarves compared to these two sitting on our sides that are like these huge ass guitarists, and then yeah, us two looking like midgets basically. So it's I'm glad that at the moment the lineup is finally like the gradient of our height is finally equal enough so that it doesn't look strange. Yes,
It's
exactly.
like a median. There's like finally a median between. Oh man, I remember like I used to also play in a band where it was three siblings and I, and like we were all above like 6 foot, and their sister was the vocalist, and she was like 5 foot something. And I also remember like photographs. She looked fucking tiny, dude. Like even more so than was expected. I'm happy that like Thorns is like relatively close to each other, so I look like a normal person.
Yeah, like I think I commented a while back on one of your photos. It's always been four arms of ivory to me because that photo of you guys with your arms crossed, it's just like these guns all up front there. Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know why that's the go-to like Thorns like pose. You need to make a meme out of that.
Yeah.
Like it's just the
Yeah,
super like
definitely.
typical metal thing. And you guys said you're working on a new album. That's you said you got about what 4 or 5 songs left on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, bro, we've been working on this album since COVID. Like I say, when we went into this new era of how we want to sound, we've been working on getting this album done. There's about 9 or 10 songs on it in total. It was supposed to be released by 2020 or 21, but our hopes were very high at that time, and shit came up. And I think life, it was sort of a crisis around that time for most people. I know I went through a lot of shit during that period, so it's been pushing and pushing, and then amongst all that, with people leaving and coming in and getting everybody up to speed, it's been a bit of a hurdle getting to this point. But at the moment, the plan has been laid out in writing, and we know that this is going to be done at this point while we do this and that. There's a whole like full schedule and stuff sorted out now. So yeah, we're on the way to getting this thing completed. Hopefully, I don't want to jinx it, but I want to say the end of this year, for real this time, it's going to be done. So yeah.
For realsies, I get you. And like, so was the shift to like the 7 strings? That's also obviously a part of the, the directional shift and the sound shift and whatnot. And just, I'm assuming you guys playing a lower tuning than you were before?
Yeah, so I think so. Look, don't quote me on this because I'm just some dumb vocalist. I don't know this and that about guitars, but from what I recall, in that last interview we were doing around that time before COVID, we were playing 6 strings, and I think Dill had just brought in a 7 string when he joined the band, and we were playing in, oh, bro, I think it was B. I could be wrong. If it's, I think it was B, and at the moment we're playing in A or A sharp. I'm probably going to get roasted when the rest of the band sees this, and I'm so wrong about it. But yeah, it's heavier. It's definitely heavier than it used to be, for sure.
And then like you also do like a lot of like graphic design stuff. Do you do most of like the designs for YCS, like the artwork and stuff like that?
Yeah. So when it comes to what you mentioned earlier about this being my baby, I feel like on that end of things, when it comes to the marketing, the designing, and all that sort of aspect of the band, that's very much me. I am doing everything promotion wise. Obviously, with a lot of help from everyone, it's all about getting the concept down and getting everybody on board to do ridiculous things. Like I'm sure you saw the most recent one with Bryn as the news anchor,
Dude,
all that sort of stuff.
It is believed that the squirrel was able to remove both of the man's testicles.
We have a lot of fun. That's really who we are as people. We want to just like goof off and have fun, but make it look professional at the same time. Is where I come in and say like we can cut this properly, and get it looking like really cool. And yeah, just not low quality. Just do our best with that, but have fun at the same time. Even though we're like a extreme deathcore band that has very dark sort of themes and things. As people, that's generally how we are, as those goofs, messing around and having fun. So
you just reminded me of. You obviously have listened to "Thou Art Is Murder." They've got a track called "The Purest Strain of Hate," and I think the entire music video of that song is them just having like the party of a lifetime, like just them having the fucking
yeah,
time of their lives, firing,
yeah,
like
dude.
hitting each other with pool noodles, shooting fireworks, having fun at shows, getting shit faced, and it's like it sums up these bands in general. Like you always think like, ah, mean mug, and meantime we're just a bunch of idiots who just like making angry noises.
Exactly. I feel like it's true for every band in the country right now. If you go like to a Bleeding Spawn show and everyone's hitting each other with pool noodles and stuff in the crowd, like it's all just fun. There's no like negative or like it doesn't even seem like gatekeeping is around that much anymore at these shows. People are so amped on all sorts of music, and just amped to be a part of the whole crowd in general and the whole scene in general. So we're living in a good time, I think.
And the dino costumes. What was the skeleton unicorn at the
Yeah.
finals was sick
That
too.
was amazing, bro. I watched the interview. That was amazing. I saw that guy from a mile away coming inside. I'm like, what is going on? This is going to be
Yeah, dude.
amazing.
I absolutely love those type of things at shows. Man, in closing, where can people find you? Where can people find your music? And yeah, this is the shameless plug time.
Um, obviously, you can find us on all the usual social platforms. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We're on Spotify. Everything DistroKid distributes, we on there. So one way or another, you can find our music. Obviously, YouTube as well. And yeah, definitely, like I've mentioned, we are definitely pushing for new content to be released soon. And from that point on, it will just be more and more as we go on. We're not going to have these long gaps of nothing going on in between as far as releasing music. We're just really excited to put out all of our stuff and everything that makes us who we are now. We want everyone to know what we can do.
Sure, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with me today.
Yeah, bro. Thanks so much for having me.